Foundation coming at you with another Cowboys video. It's not the my expectations and thoughts on the dress rehearsal game against the Oakland Raiders. Rather, this one is more organizational wise. Talking about the Cowboys itself. I think it was the other day was they did the Ring of Honor. They brought it to the new facility at the Star. They have the numbers and the pictures of the players that's in the Ring of Honor, which really looks really beautiful on that. But anyway, I keep on forgetting that we only have 21 guys in there, and you think about the long list of Cowboys that was great players. You know, not only this for the Cowboys, but for the NFL. You know, like I go, okay. I mean, going back, you know, in history, I'll bring up some of these names, but going back in history is probably my first guy on the list is Gil Brandt, scout for the Cowboys. I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Jerry Jones mentioned him in his Hall of Fame speech, but what he did for scouting is untouchable. I mean, he's the godfather, you know, basically of it. You know, I'll just tie this in real quick so I can move on to the next guy so I don't take too long. But I mean, I think it was Bob Lilly said in one of the documentaries was that he got a basketball guy that played basketball, Pete Gent, that rings a bell, Rico Gathers. You know, I mean, that's what kind of his thought process was like. He was always trying to one up the league, like, you know, you're gonna do this, I'm gonna go one further. It's like, and then everybody's like, what are you doing? And you know, he was just like, hey, I believe they can play for. The things that Tom Landry wanted to do, he with his thought process of how he had of designing stuff for, you know, as far as the offense and everything like that. He could come up with things and all that, and he's no different in all that. Harvey Martin, for a long time, he had the sacks for Cowboys, and watching him on a couple NFL Classic games and couple on you know, going, now I have the Game Pass, watching him on the Super Bowl in 1977. I'm like, and then, you know, then finding out that you keep on forgetting that the sacks wasn't an official record into the 80s, into the start of the 80s. And I'm like, okay, how much that the NFL never account for that we can see and all that, whether it's a half a sack or whatever. And I don't know how he's not in the Ring of Honor. I mean, it's weird for me. Another guy, you know, he's an iconic guy for me personally, is Ed Too Tall Jones. But you hear around the NFL, anytime when you hear about, oh, his length and his height, everybody says, oh yeah, you know, he kind of like Ed Too Tall Jones was, you know, and they talk about that. And even though, like, someone like Dan Fouts, I think I've heard before, Phil Simms has said it before, that they said that they used to hate throwing to the right, because if Ed Too Tall Jones was on that in that area, he would bat the ball down, and even that wasn't a stat for a lot of years. You know, they called J.J. Watt J.J. Swat, who basically made it that much of a disruption. I mean, again, one of my favorite plays of all time is the one where against the Giants, he swatted the ball in the air against Phil Simms, and Jeff Cook caught it and ran it for a touchdown. You know, so that's the kind of player that he was to this organization. The 80s wasn't a really good time for us, but, you know, someone like Everson Walls, who held the rookie record for interceptions. You know, it's to this day, it's almost 30 years now that he's still the all-time Cowboy leader in interceptions. I mean, that should have come for something, you know. I mean, I know he was going through the hard times and all that, but he meant something to us. I mean, he probably was probably our maybe last great number 24. I mean, you could throw Barber in there maybe, but other than that, Larry Brown was okay. But other than that, I cannot think of anybody wearing number 24 that made it shine and all that. I would put Herschel Walker in. I mean, if you think about it too, when he got in, when the Cowboys was basically done already, that was the hardest times and all that. And he's still my favorite player. But the things that he could do, catch the ball, play special teams, run, block. I mean, he did so much things and all that. I mean, in that, I think it's 1988, he had 1,500 yards. And on a team that we did not have a quarterback. Michael Irvin was a rookie. Name anybody else that you remember. Doug Cosby, maybe. So that's about it. Steve Pallure was our quarterback. So he's another one that could be in the Ring of Honor. Plus, they should thank him for the trade. And the most obvious one, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson should have been there years ago. What he did, bringing us back to the Super Bowl and winning 2 Super Bowls in a row, that is an automatic. I mean, what he is meant for is the history of this team. I think they'll put the hair as the symbol, like how they get the Landry hat. And probably more guys from that era. Nate Newton comes up a lot. The Kitchen. I mean, he was one of my favorite players. This the way this is the way he used to push guys off the line, and you saw him coming off the ball. I was like, he made it fun to be an offensive lineman. Moose Johnston, all the sacrifices he's made, but you go to visiting stadiums, and they would yell Moose. He was a good receiver out of the backfield. I seen him make a catch against the Steelers. He went stretched out and he caught it better than some wide receivers do. One of my favorite plays from here though, of all time, is in the NFC Championship. Was like on the first punt. The guy got whacked with the ball and he caught it mid-air. So I mean, and all the sacrifices he did for helping Emmitt Smith and everything like that. That to me, maybe not a Hall of Fame, but to me, should be in the Ring of Honor, and that alone. And then not finally, but another guy that I think should be in, even though his career was cut short because of his injury, was Eric Williams. I mean, you talk about a guy that drove fear. Like, he drove fear as an offensive lineman, as defensive players were like Lawrence Taylor, Dick Butkus, Reggie White, Mike Singletary, Richard Dent, guys like that, Dexter Manley, guys like that drew fear into offensive players. But he was a guy that drew fear for defensive players. I mean, nobody wanted to play against him because he was that rough. He was just like, you know what, I don't care, and he was crazy. I mean, but to get Reggie White of all guys mad is a trip in itself. And you hear around the league. I mean, to this day, the fans even talk about it. Like they joke, they ask like, well, is he nasty like that? And then Nate Newton, when he's on the shows and all that, no, they're not nasty like that because they cannot be, because it'll be illegal now and all the things that he used to do. But I mean, he really made offensive linemen popular because there's so much nastiness he had and all that. You know, you see him do that club. Boom. I mean, phew. DeMarcus Ware is another one since he recently retired. Some people say, well, he gotta wait his turn and everything like that. If he's good enough to be in the Ring of Honor, then put him in. I don't believe in this weight stuff and all that. If you feel like that he's better, the best candidate, then put him in. But I brought up some guys that really deserves to be in there. But anyway, that's that video. Again, I'll come up with my thoughts and expectations for the Oakland Raider game maybe Friday. All right, mahalo for watching. Panilo boys, and go Cowboys.